let's jump into the Learn to Fly course here at the top. And the Learn to Fly course itself is really the platform. It includes private pilot training, recreational pilot training, and sport pilot training. Majority of students and customers we see typically go for the private pilot certificate. Gives the most options and freedom and flexibility in different types of airplanes. But this is a great course for sport training as well. We have seen an uptick in sport pilot training, and this course has everything covered for that. Big component of the course is the FAA Knowledge Test. And for 2019, we completely rewrote and reprogrammed how this works. Again, based on a lot of customer feedback and students' feedback over the years. We have nearly 1,000 questions in our database. The FAA does not publish test questions. Haven't done that, I think, for over 15 years. So we're actively researching what's on the test and writing our own custom questions. And they're organized here into 6 main categories, as you can see. And right away, at the first glance, you can see that we have some analytics on the right-hand side to track your performance. So our goal here is to put this right in your face. So as you start to practice FAA tests, practice tests, and study test questions, you can see how you're doing. See maybe some weaker areas so you know where to focus on as you go about your studying. So the place to start up is the top left corner. It says study test questions. So we're going to do that for now to show some of these new features. And we added several new study options. So you can study categories of questions, which we'll go over here in just a minute. You can select random questions. So maybe you just want to study 20 random questions, just a quick study session just to test out your knowledge. A brand new one for 2019 is the Smart Study Session option. And what this does, again, after you start to build up some progress in history, we have built in some formulas and analytics to go in and say, I want to focus on just the questions and subject matter that I'm most weak in, so that I can focus my efforts most in the right direction as you prepare for the test. So the Smart Study Session will then allow you to pick a selection of 1 to 50 questions, and based on past performance, will generate a session to help you really drill in on those weak areas. So a great way, again, just to focus for a limited amount of time to beef up your knowledge on certain subject areas. We also added the ability to mark questions and come back to them at a later time. This is another customer request and a really great feature now. So as you're going through a test session or a study session, you can mark a question that you might not fully understand and use that study marked questions option to come back to it later, maybe for your own review or to bring up with your flight instructor to check out. Study questions answered incorrectly, another way to focus just on the weaker areas, and then a flashcard mode where you can study questions without seeing the answers. As you'll see here, our focus of this is really not just rote memorization. We want you to actually learn the material. So as we go into the session, you'll see some of that in there. And by being able to look at incorrect questions and studying flashcards, we really help to reinforce that. There's no right or wrong way to go about this, but my preference is in working with my students is to have them focus on particular subject matter initially. So as you can see here, aircraft performance has 4 subcategories. Airplane systems have subcategories, so you can really drill down into very specific questions and their subject matter. So here it looks like we scored 70% in the systems section. So let's go ahead and study some of those questions, and we'll create that session here. So in this mode, you'll see the answer selection is the question, and when I select an answer, it's going to tell me right away whether I got that correct or incorrect. In this case, I chose the incorrect answer, and the green answer represents the correct answer. In addition to the 1,000 questions we have in our database, we've also written custom explanations for every single question. So again, it really helps to make this a learning experience and not just memorization, because there is some basic rote memorization here with federal aviation regulations and some pretty black and white topics, but there are also some learning experiences here too. So by answering the question, getting the feedback on the explanation, you can really learn a lot about this. Also includes all the figures you need to answer the question. So those are incorporated nicely into the program. And you can also download a PDF of all those if you'd like to have them handy side by side on another computer or iPad if you wanted, or print them out. And then one other thing I like about this, we added this last summer as part of the 2019 courses. Every single answer has a reference to where you'll find that actually in the resource. So whether it's the Federal Aviation Regulations, the Airplane Flying Handbook, whatever it might be, we can click on this and it'll load that PDF resource or the document, whatever it might be there. I won't wait for it here since, again, I'm on a little bit slower internet connection, but that'll load up in a matter of seconds to check that out. So you can read into it more and understand better what's going on. Here's your mark function up here, a little blue caret in the top right corner of the question, and that will allow you to come back and view that question later by looking at marked categories. So let's go ahead and grade this. I know it's incomplete here, but just to show you. You'll get a quick analysis of how you did on each category. Typically, those will be in the greens because you're going to do well in this as you study through the knowledge test. But we added new options this year to create additional study sessions based on this session. So not only can you review your answers, you can go in and say, I just want to study just the incorrect answers, or I want to look at just the marked questions. So lots of flexibility there on how you can go about that while preparing for your knowledge test. On the far right, top right up here is the practice FAA test. That's where you'll go in and take your simulated knowledge test. Take as many as you want. Don't worry if you get poor scores at the beginning. That's all part of the learning process. So you'll find quickly enough that you'll start to improve and be scoring in the 90s before you know it. At any time, you can come back and use this View My Tests function here in the middle. This allows you to go back and look at previous test sessions. And this page was redesigned also for this 2019 update. Again, at the top up here, you can see how you've done across the board on all your different performance categories. And you can come to any session here and review it. So let's say you took a session at the very beginning and you want to say, what did I really miss when I first started? I want to go back and just look at the incorrect questions, for example. You can go back and do that. So really focus again on those areas where you need a little additional study and practice and preparation. And then an analysis tool here, you can go back and check again let's pull a different one up that has better progress. Come here and see your analytics on how you did on that session. Again, helping you to zero in and focus on areas that you might want to review more on. So very comprehensive selection of test preparation tools. And again, the goal here as you work through this is to build up and get to test scores over 80% as you work your way towards your endorsement.